Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the On Deck podcast by Prospects Live. I am your friend, your host, Drew Wheeler. Happy to be here with you today for a really exciting episode of the show. Today, and by we, I mean myself and Reese White, Director of Pro Scouting at Prospects Live, are going to be interviewing Arizona Diamondbacks prospect Daniel Eagen, one of the most interesting pitchers of the 2025 minor league season. And if you're interested in hearing any of that, stick around with us because right after this musical break, we're going to get right to the interview.
And the boys in the corner are trying to figure you out. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to know your name.
Want to say thank you to the Drop Teens for their music. Every episode of On Deck, we've been happy to have them and their tunes for you. But as we said at the top of the show, today's episode is a really great one because we are going back to some of our roots on Deck with an excellent player interview. If you don't know it, drafted out of Presbyterian College last season to the Arizona Diamondbacks after setting tons of records as their Friday night starter. This guy has excelled across two levels of the game this year. Class A advanced and Double A, excelling at both of those levels. Now with the Amarillo Sod Poodles, this young man, Daniel Eagen, has been such an exciting prospect for this year. And we don't want to take any more of your time. Reese and I got a lot of time and a lot of great stuff out of Daniel, who you'll learn is quite the bulldog, quite the cerebral pitcher, and a great pitcher, at least we've seen this year. Can't wait to see what he does going forward. So we're going to throw it to the interview with Daniel right now. Everybody, welcome back to On Deck, and we are here with Daniel Eagen of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. Daniel, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, guys.
On Deck is building a great collection of pitchers. I think Reese, our guests at this point, I think we could make a pretty formidable rotation of pitchers. I think Daniel's right at the top of that, huh?
Yeah, Daniel's probably headlining our rotation of the
I think
on-deck
so.
interviewee rotation.
I think so. Not to put any more pressure on you, Dan, but yes, if you don't mind, I like to start out some interviews with some icebreaker questions. Help us get to know you and ease you into the conversation with us because people at home have gotten to learn a lot about myself and Reese and our other co-host Nate through what's on our mind. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit of what's on your mind, Daniel. What's the most overrated TV show that you can think of and why?
Oh, man. Right now, I just have to say, like, Love Island. I can't really get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not my jam.
Yeah, me neither. I think that like the stuff on Twitter can get kind of funny, but like it's just
Yeah,
for
the
me.
clips are cool, but I'm never gonna sit down and watch that. So
I feel you. Reese, Love Island guy.
I'm a big Love Island guy. I watch every episode when it debuts, so that one really hurt.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
Dan, what's the most overrated fast food you can think of and why?
To be honest, people out here have been saying Whataburger is really good, and I'm not a huge fan of that either. So I'll try to say Whataburger.
You got Reese with the first one, got me with the second one. I do like what they're pretty good. So what's your favorite burger spot then, if not Whataburger?
If I had to choose like fast food, it's probably Five Guys. Like it's like a step above like the McDonald's, Burger Kings, but it's also not like, it's not terrible. So
Yeah, definitely. So I learned, Dan, that you were from Fuquay Varina, North Carolina. Not the biggest city in the state, but one that's pretty interesting. I did see that you are not the most famous resident of Fuquay.
No.
So the Quay actually has Rhett and Link of Good Mythical Morning from there. I'm curious, could you strike out Rhett and Link?
I'm almost positive I could.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically that Rhett and Link, let's say that you had both of them in the box, like one lefty, one righty. What would be the goal here? Like how would you operate?
Oh man, they're both swinging at the same time, both in the box.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just have to throw fastballs and see if they could hit them. Like,
I don't think they can.
Might as well just throw it as hard as I can and see if I can throw it by both of them. And so I bet that's my best bet. Any other pitch, there's probably a bigger risk of somebody getting hurt there. So
that's hilarious. I do like the thought that they might hit one another too if they're both in like separate boxes.
Yeah, depending on where the pitch is moving, I feel like just a straight shot right in between both of them is the best bet there.
So you hear that at home. Rhett, Link, Daniel's calling you. I'm just kidding. Then you went to college, Presbyterian College in South Carolina. Reese and I were talking about how interesting that is. Uh, Reese was really curious about like what it is that sold you on that school specifically.
Yeah, I got recruited out of high school during the COVID time, and a lot of those college coaches were skipping over that 21 class and kind of just keeping all their guys, bringing them back on for the free year that everybody got. And so a lot of the schools that I really wanted to go to weren't really interested in my class at the time. And so kind of had to take a step back and, really assess my situation. I still had one more year left in high school, and I really kind of had to expand, my horizons on like schools that I could go to. And I was pretty adamant about still playing at the Division 1 level. That was always a dream of mine. And, every kid growing up there is like D1, D1. And so I really was focused on taking my talents to a D1 school. Where exactly that was, I wasn't, sure. But I ended up just posting a bunch of video on Twitter and then going to a couple showcases with my travel team. And they reached out, and through a few conversations, they were really determined to get me on campus and also like have me play right when I showed up. The coaches made me feel like PC was my home. Like as soon as I started having conversations with them, I ended up taking a like non-official visit there because at the time it was still COVID going around. And so there were no like visits that you could take. And so we took like a tour of the school through the school, not like a baseball one. And just walked around the campus. It was a rainy day. It was kind of ironic, a rainy day, gray clouds. But I was like, you know what, this might be the right spot. And so I guess like a couple weeks later, I committed.
And when you ended up on campus, what did you end up majoring in? Some other questions
I
after
was
that.
a communications major.
Communications major.
Yeah.
Okay, so so let's talk about not what you did in the classroom, but let's talk about what on the mound. So it says you struggle here with injuries in your first 2 seasons at Presbyterian. What was the lesson that adversity taught you? I don't know if you were injured very much in high school, or if that was like the first time
No.
that injuries started to pile, like not pile up, but like if injuries started to strike
Yeah.
for you.
So in high school, I mean, I went through a couple bumps and here and there, but pretty manageable, especially being such a young kid. But, college, you hit a road bump, and the injury that I was dealing with at least was, affecting my longevity. And my coach at the time was like, look, I understand that you might want to be able to, you might want to throw right now and impact us and try to help us win some games. But, um, just like the health concerns that are coming up, I really don't think that's smart. And I really think that we should, take a look at, your possible future with this team. And I think that you throwing the baseball while I was hurt wouldn't have been the best decision at the time. And so he kind of sidelined me. My head coach did, and told me to, get healthy first off and foremost, and then also like learn about my body, what makes my body feel good, to prevent further injury. And so I took a lot of that sophomore season doing physical therapy and preparing myself to come back healthy. And during that time, I just became appreciative of the opportunity to play because I was, going to the games but sitting on the bench, not throwing in them. And so kind of had to take a back seat and watch all my other teammates play and wait my turn eventually. So just made me a little more appreciative of the opportunities that I get, and just understanding that, longevity is a huge part of this game, and that, um, health is really number one priority.
So, okay. So after those 2 injury seasons, right? You were the Friday night starter for Presbyterian in 2024. You set an
Right.
all-time record with 122 strikeouts in the season. Set a program record for most strikeouts in a single game versus Radford. And then you carried on that success. You ended up being drafted in the third round of the 2024 draft by the Arizona Diamondbacks. What was draft day like for you? Walk me through that. Did you have like a draft party? Did you kind of know where in the draft you were going to go? And did you know that the Diamondbacks were interested in you?
Yeah, I had an idea of where I wanted to go. Of course, the draft is so unpredictable. You can never just bank on exactly where you're going to go. And so I had an idea of where I wanted to get drafted, and then I threw a party on day two of the draft just in case I didn't go on day one. At least everyone would be there day two to either celebrate the draft or watch me get drafted. And so that was a great moment. Had a bunch of close friends and family show up, and they all saw me get the call from Arizona. As far as talks with them, I went to the combine that year, and that's really most of the communication that I had with them. I had a meeting with some of the front office guys and staff, and at the time, I didn't really, think much on it. But then when I heard that Arizona called and, I agreed to sign, that I just remembered the meeting that I had with them, and it was very easygoing, very laid back. The communication was just like top tier, like really easy to talk to with all their guys, all their staff, and they were really interested in who I was as a person, and they just made me feel like really comfortable in an environment that probably is supposed to make players uncomfortable a little bit, so.
Mhm.
It's funny you say that because that was actually what I was just about to get to is, the combine experience for you, I'm sure they're at Chase Field, that's kind of their headquarters.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense that they would kind of almost have an edge to make a player comfortable, where even like you kind of alluded to, they may want you to be a little bit on edge. But I guess my question would be kind of with your communications background in school, did that help you any, you think, in that whole process to kind of understand what was going down and
Yeah.
how to
I mean, a little bit because, obviously it's their place and, they are the most familiar with it. So, I mean, I try to, I've tried to be a really good public speaker and, really understand what people are saying to me when they talk to me. I was taking in a bunch of information from them, but also it's my job to like relay like who I am as a player and as a person. And so I think the fact that they were right there in their backyard doing all this interview conducting made it really easy for them to assess the players. And fortunately enough, they saw something they liked out of me.
I think so. Well, it's obvious. I mean, there's plenty to like about you. Recent, I could talk about that for days, but it's funny because you mentioned in that instance you were not only trying to listen and hear what they have to say and what take in what you can about kind of their draft plans and what they see for you, but you're also trying to for lack of a better word, sell yourself and tell them hey, I'm a
Right.
player that you want, and here's why, and this is the sort of person I am and the character that I bring. It's a difficult thing, and one of the many difficult things, for you as a ball player. I'm curious about the transition from being a college student, collegiate athlete, to now being a professional ball player. What's been the kind of most jarring or harsh transition that you faced in doing that?
Yeah, I would definitely say just like the amount of like physical and mental wear and tear. Like college, the season is shorter, you're the conference I was in, the level of competition, it was, it got to a point where it was I'm not gonna say like easy for me, but I was just out there doing my thing and not really, taking the time to assess. Some of my stuff overpowered guys, but at this level, you got to learn to really take it pitch by pitch and dissect different aspects of different hitters' games. What works against them, my strengths versus their strengths, and so understanding that it's like there's a game within the game, and just taking deeper dives into every aspect of the game, trying to elevate it, make them better. What parts of my game, didn't need much changing from college, what needed to be worked on, that fall showing up. And so I just tried to do the best job I could at like listening, hearing them out as to, what changes they wanted to make, but also they were very clear to me about, what I needed to keep doing in order to, stay at my peak level.
So, speaking about your peak level, what are the Diamondbacks been working on you with the player development group and everything like that? Because they are one of the more underrated pitching organizations in baseball. I'm wondering, like, what have they worked on with you that they've added to your game or told you to work on since becoming a Diamondbacks prospect?
Yeah. So obviously the vision was to become a starting pitcher and stay a starting pitcher, and we both agreed that in order to, you know, really give myself a better shot at that would be to add a changeup. So I spent a lot of the fall working with different changeups and different grips, and some things stuck well and some didn't. It's been a pretty difficult journey for me, especially going into this season. But I think just adding the changeup and then also like understanding how I want each of my pitches to play off of each other and not just like gripping and ripping every single one, like having a thought process behind, where certain pitches play in the zone against certain hitters and like how to use them. And so instead of just generalizing each pitch as its own, it's kind of taking a deeper dive into, you know, the movement that they have, how they play against certain handedness hitters, and just figuring out how adding a changeup would fit into all that.
So speaking of your changeup, do you have a baseball handy by chance?
I can go find one.
Okay,
We'd love that. We'd love to play catch,
We're,
Dan.
Yeah, let me go
we're
find
actually,
it really quick.
we're actually right outside. We're gonna start. We have our gloves and everything. We're waiting for you. So let's walk through. You just talked about your changeup and the development of the changeup. Let's talk about your pitch grips, and let's start out with the changeup. What is the changeup grip that you have ultimately decided on, and when are you trying to use this changeup? Like, what's the scenario?
Yeah, so right now I've just been kind of doing like a split grip variation. It's been a little inconsistent as far as like where I put my fingers, but the idea has always been kind of like a Gaussman kind of deal. And then my thought process really is I have a really hard time of getting on the inside of the ball. And so rather than me starting my hand towards the hitter and turning my wrist this way, I've kind of like preset it almost like a football. And then by the time I reach out to extension, the ball is already kind of started pronating from the inside. And then when I'm
Mm.
fully extended, the ball is like kind of facing the hitter already. And so it just kind of creates that arm side movement. So it's easier for me to do this than it is that. And so major supinator for sure.
Major supinator. Okay, next question. Let's talk about the pitch that I think everyone would like to know about. Let's talk about the curveball. What is the grip on that? What are you trying to do? How are you trying to utilize it? Yeah.
Yeah. I just got like a spike grip right on the horseshoe right there, and thumb's kind of just right directly behind it. I can tinker around with the thumb placement depending on if I want to like take a little off or add a little more. And really I just like try to take my back of the hand through the catcher's mask and like grip it and rip it. Honestly, I think what's helped is like eliminating the like hump out of the hand with the curveball. I think the spike like helps a huge amount of like separating or like keeping the look similar to a fastball out of the hand. So rather than it like popping out
Mhm.
like this, it's kind of just like tumbling right out of my hand from my high arm slot. And so I really haven't changed the grip. I've been throwing this same curveball grip since I was like 12, 13 years old. And like arm angle has affected the actual movement of it, but through throwing over the top like I had started to my junior year of college, it had just turned into like a 12-6 kind of death ball. And so I kept it, and the grip's comfortable. Haven't changed anything about it since.
Do you have any other breaking balls that you like to utilize before we start talking about fastball and fastball grips?
Yeah, I got a gyro slider too. It's just kind of on this side of the horseshoe right there, and I'm just ripping it like a heater, trying to pull down with my middle finger and get to the side of it. It's been working really well for me. I'd say it's been a great like other weapon to have.
Yeah.
Just again try to make it look exactly like my fastball out of the hand and let the grip do the rest.
Okay, now let's talk about the fastball out of the hand because it seems like you're very conscious of the way in which your pitches tunnel off of each other and everything like that.
Yeah.
Allow everything to play up naturally as opposed to some guys it's slightly different arm slots and it tunnels a little. It doesn't tunnel very well. So obviously you're making a concerted effort to make sure that all your pitches tunnel. Let's talk about this fastball that sets everything up.
Yeah, so it's just regular four seam, like right on the horseshoe right there. I like to have the C uh not backwards, like facing me kind of this way. So just like that. And I understand that it gets a lot of like ride and carry. Sometimes it gets a little bit of run too. So by understanding that my fastball plays up in the zone, I try to like let that play for itself instead of like trying to throw fastballs up. I'm really just ripping the heater, letting it play. It's getting a lot of vert, getting a lot of carry. Really trying to get the hitter to swing under it, foul it back, etc. And so understanding that the fastball is kind of going to keep a steady, even carry, it helps it even more when the breaking balls are like really tight spinning and then last second they take off down or, to the left or to the right. So that's kind of the general idea is like keep everything on the same plane originally. The fastball is going to stay there, maybe take a little bit of a zip last second and keep going. And then everything else is going to be right off that plane again and then just dipping down.
I love
That's
it.
awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I'm like
Yeah.
a big pitching nerd, so I'm really interested in that. Is the tunneling and everything, is that something that the Diamondbacks have specifically been having you work on? Like, I don't know, like if they have any sort of drills or anything that allow you to just, get everything all coming from the same arm slot. Like, I'm trying to think who would be a good example of that. And while we're talking about pitch grips, is there any pitcher that you mold your game after? Like, when you were younger, you're talking about at 12 years old, you're developing the curveball grip. Was the curveball something that you developed off of someone that you watched as a kid, or is that just something you were like, I really want to throw a curveball? I think 12 is when like what they used to say
Yeah.
they could start throwing one. So
Yeah, pretty
I'm just
much.
curious
That
about
was
the journey.
curveball grip was the grip I learned to throw when I was like 12, 13 years old, just starting out throwing one. And I really just this was always comfortable to me. It sits in my hand really nice. And so I haven't ever tinkered with it. But I don't really like emulate my game after anybody, but I really like watching Garrett Cole pitch. I just think the kind of mentality that he has on the mound, like he's a dog, he's out there to win the game for his team like every time. And I think that's very clear when you see him pitching is like he's locked in, he's aggressive, he's in game mode like all the time. And I really try to like um just like emulate those aspects of his game. I don't really like ever try to like look at other people's grips and such every now and then for the changeup, especially since that's a work in progress. But I figured, the pitches that I have at this point have gotten me this far, and I have a lot of trust in at least three of them: the curveball, fastball, and slider. And so I trust, the work that I've put in to develop those to my liking, and so I'm keeping them where they're at.
I I love, Daniel, how your entire pitching philosophy kind of molds off of tunneling off of your fastball that does have that kind of natural ride and carry, and it does play so well at the top of the zone. You're the to attack a guy at the top of the zone, but then to have that curveball that just really radically drops, like you said, kind of that natural
Right.
tumble is just so impressive. Love that. So this season, first pro season, you've had a couple of really killer starts, and I've highlighted two of them that I'd kind of like to talk about in a little more detail, if that's okay.
Yeah.
April 17th. I'm not going to ask you exactly where you were. You went 6 innings, 12 strikeouts, no walks, no earnings, only 3 hits. In that game, you had a ton of chase, a lot of movement on the curveball. I think my question to go from here is, Daniel, that sort of game, 6 innings, no earned runs, 12 punch outs, what does that do for your confidence and your mentals through a very long season, your first pro season? What does that do to help you?
Yeah, it's huge for confidence, especially since the two outings before, one of them was like pretty good, okay, and then but the first one of that year uh, wasn't great, and I think it was just such a huge confidence booster, like reassuring that like I'm in the right place and like I can have success. Like I can have success like right out of the gate. Like I don't have to, you know, put myself in situations to struggle just so I can learn and experience, minor league baseball for the first time, professional baseball. And, I don't have to go through all these things. I can come out right at the gate firing away and attacking hitters. And I think that just like kind of brought back a little bit of my persona, which is to like go right at people, not think, just like be really, you know, bear down on hitters and just be super aggressive. And so that outing was like reassuring that like the work I put in the fall, spring training, the off season, and then also like the preparation that I did, you know, had been doing up to that point, it was all like working well for me. And so just understanding that I didn't have to go like seeking different things and, changing a bunch of different pieces, like at my core, like I can have success. And it's just all about, becoming a professional at that point and adding and subtracting parts of your game that, will ultimately make you better. So,
I love it. It's so interesting that you talk about the kind of those two different parts of yourself on the mound. The part of you that is the bulldog, let's attack, see what I've got, you see if you can hit it. But then the other part of you that you said you're kind of learning to lean into a little more that pitch by pitch, game in the game. Let's dissect what this guy's good at and how can I attack him in the smartest way. I think that combining those two things is really going to make you so much more of a lethal pitcher, to be aggressive enough to go after it, but to be analytical enough to do it in the smartest way. I think that that's the mark of a real field general, if you will, especially from the mound. So I'm sure you know what we're going with the second game here. August 22nd, debut at Double A with Amarillo, 7 2/3, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, carried a perfect game into the 6th inning. Daniel, I don't mean to shake you by saying this, man. I have on PlayStation 4 on the show, I have thrown 2 perfect games. Thank you. Doing that with a controller, I was strung out as you get to the 9th inning.
Yeah.
As you're in the 6th, anything contact, I am losing my mind. I mean, at any given point, I could stroke out, it feels like. I'm curious, what's going through your mind in that kind of, like, once you have exceeded, this is a good start, hey, I'm really dealing, now we're at this level. When you're at that level, what's going through your head with every pitch?
Yeah, I think all pitchers might be able to relate to this, but you just kind of get to a point where you're having a really good outing where you're just not thinking anymore and you're just up there like having fun with it, throwing your best stuff. It's so relaxed. And I think like being able to get like the first inning out of the way, then the second one, and then really settling in into the third, it just gives you like a ton of confidence in the game, but it also just lets you know that like, you got your stuff working right now. And so it just makes everything a little bit easier on the mind. And when your mind is calm, your body's calm. And just being able to go back to, what I do physically, which is, ride heater, downer curveball, and just like really hone in on my strengths. And I think that, once I'm just like super dialed in on my strengths for the day, it's going to be really hard to get me off my game. And so that was just one of those outings where everything was working. The weak contact was like coming along, and then the strikeouts came along as the outing went on. And so that's just how like you're really settling in nicely. And so you don't really ever want to like think about it. Um, I mean, at a certain point, I'd say I was thinking about like, oh, I haven't given up a hit yet. And then, but I didn't really know about the perfect game. I was just kind of up there like, hey, they're hitting it and I'm getting outs. And it was a quick game at the time too. And so I was just like up, down, running out of the dugout, like, okay, like 3 more hitters, let's go. So it was really like easy on the mind after like the first few innings that outing.
I love that. And I kind of off of that same sentiment, that's your first start with a new group of dudes. And I mean, I know some of these guys probably played with them earlier in the season, this and that, different kinds of things, but to ingratiate yourself into that specific group with that kind of performance, like what was that like to be able to show those guys like, hey, I'm here, I belong here, and I'm gonna help us win games.
Yeah, it was great. It was the perfect message that I wanted to send, which was, I understand this is my first year professionally, but I really do want to make an impact for you guys. We're in a playoff race right now. We're hopefully about to clinch here, so even more excited to play meaningful playoff baseball. But at the same time, a lot of these guys hadn't seen me pitch, and they had like told me before that outing, like, "Hey, haven't seen you pitch. Really excited to." And I think that just made me like feel a lot more comfortable and welcome in that clubhouse. It was like a lot of those guys were like really pumped to like see me get out there and do my thing. And so I think that gave me, all the confidence I needed to just keep doing what I had been doing all year up to that point in high A. And then just like, hey, like screw it. I'm just gonna, keep the same mentality against these guys and see what happens. If something, doesn't go my way, then we'll take a step back and, assess things and figure out what we need to work on. But yeah, that was like the perfect entrance, as one might say, to
I love that. I
that
love
level.
it so much.
Before we get into, I'm gonna ask you like a scenario real quick. What was the transition like going from high A Southern Pacific Northwest all the way down to Amarillo? How was that transition?
Yeah, it was just like super cool. Like, of course, like on paper, it's like high A to double A, and it's like another letter, and it's like a promotion. But really, like stepping into the locker room, seeing the guys, seeing the coaches, and then going out into the stadium, and like it was just like a really cool moment to like realize like, hey, this is a step above where we just were. And although you don't want to like tell yourself that, like you can appreciate it for what it is. And so I think that was like just like a super cool thing I got to do was like, hey, like you made it, like you're here. Now let's get to work. And so it was really cool.
Love that. All right, let's get into the mind of Daniel Eagen. All right, I'm just gonna give you like a scenario here. It's a tough left-handed batter. You've managed to get it 2-2, right? You just threw a fastball and got a swing and miss. What is your next pitch? What are you thinking when you're going through this? Because you mentioned that you do, you want to be smart with your pitching. You want to be. It seems like you're a student of the game, but you also want to go out there and be a dog on the mound. You want to go attack. What is you doing? What are you doing after that?
Yeah. So obviously, it all just kind of depends on the scenario, who's at the plate, this and that. But
Mhm.
having just thrown a fastball right by the guy, um, means they're late on it, and so with that ride, I gotta let that ride play up and through the zone. If he hadn't shown any ability to kinda catch up with that heater, I would just continue to throw it up in the zone, elevate it, and, try to induce a chase. If it would, if there's, like, runners on and, you don't really wanna, like, experiment and toy around with the hitter, I would just go right at him with my strength, which would be the curveball down, and just really emphasize that that is at the bottom of the zone at least, if not lower, just to, try and recreate the swing. And I would just honestly think about where I threw that last fastball, and then that's where I would want my curveball to start, like, out of the hand. And so, yeah, it would really depend. Like, those are, like, 2 really valuable options to have, which is, like, just because I get a swing and miss on the heater doesn't mean I need to go right to the curveball. And just because I get a swing and miss on the curveball doesn't mean I need to keep throwing them. And so it's just like keeping a steady mix, but also understanding like who's at the plate. And so just really in that scenario, letting my strengths do the work and, being comfortable with whatever result happened at that point too.
What is something that isn't on your scouting report that you could give us and our listeners a little bit of a scoop on? Like, obviously, we keep talking about explosive fastball, explosive breaking ball. You like to, it seems like you like to play around with hitters' eye levels and everything. Fastball up, curveball down.
Mhm.
You're developing the changeup. What's something that's not on your quote scouting report? Like I said, that you could give us, and also like you talk about, you want to be a dog on the mound. You want to be, but you also want to be smart. You don't want to, put
Yeah.
yourself in a spot where you're hurting your team and possibly losing a game.
Yeah. So right now, like one of the things I'm really trying to hone in and work on is just like getting strike one and getting ahead. And I think the less, like, this is going to sound obviously like duh, but like the less balls I throw, the better of a chance I have to get hitters out. And so I'm really trying to, get to 2 strikes like within 3 pitches, or even get the hitter out or on base in 3 pitches, and just like moving down the line. I've had times this year where I've gotten into a ton of 3-2 full counts, and it really stacks up on the pitch count, and it prevents your ability to go deep into the games. And so as far as like, you know, what I would like stuff I would tell myself in preparation for a start, like even regardless of, what team I'm facing, it's just like, okay, get ahead, get strike one, be in the zone with everything, and just like try to control the batter's box. So that as far as like I wouldn't say it's like a scouting report, but it's just like a checklist before I like, you know, go up against a hitter. It's like, okay, like this guy, we're not walking him.
I
Love
love
that.
that. I love that. I think what I'm going to put on my scouting report, Reese, is that this is one of the most mentally tough and like I can't get over your mentals on the mound, Daniel. That's insane. I love it so much.
Thank you.
So I'm going to change it up a little bit. Do you mind a quick game of this or that? I'll give you
Sure.
a couple options. You tell me what you like better.
Let's do it.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
I love it.
I love
Likewise.
vanilla.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner for sure.
Okay. Day game or night game?
Hmm. I really like the day game. I really like finishing and then having the rest of the night to kind of unwind.
Ooh, that is nice. That is
It's a
good
good
shit.
feeling.
Would you rather have a serious actor in a comedy movie or a funny actor in a drama?
A serious actor in a comedy movie. I think it would make it that much funnier.
I agree. He's the straight man. All right.
Yeah.
Your pregame playlist, hype or chill?
Both. It really just I take it day by day. Like whatever I'm feeling for the day, I just kinda I listen to a wide variety of music, and so anything that's really calling my name for the day.
What's been some of the artists or songs in rotation lately? Any Future by chance?
Yeah, I do like Future actually.
Reese,
There we go.
That's Reese's guy.
Future, Drake, Travis Scott are like my main rap artists, Gunna, that I go to. I can always get down to, listening to some rap. Really into like laid back classic rock, like kind of like boat rock stuff. Um, EDM whenever I'm in like a, upbeat dancing mood. Those usually aren't on like my start days, just because it's more of like a start days. I'm like trying to like lock in and get a little serious, but the EDM I can get down with on like a day that I'm not starting. So
I love it. Would you rather, or I guess which is your favorite, Harry Potter or Star Wars? I know.
Star Wars. I really like both, but I'm a Star Wars guy at heart.
Favorite Jedi or character, maybe?
Got to be Anakin.
Okay,
Anakin.
we drafted Star Wars characters on the show last episode, and Anakin was the clear one. So
Yeah, I mean he's the best.
he's the best. Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni. I'm a straight pepperoni guy. Really don't like a lot of pizza or toppings on my pizza.
Have you tried pineapple on pizza?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the Drew special. Next time you order pizza, pepperoni, jalapenos, pineapple. It's amazing.
Okay. If I were to try pineapple on pizza, I think those two toppings would be okay with me. So I might take your word on that.
Trust me. Let me know what you think.
All right.
And then favorite nickname. Do you have a favorite nickname that your teammates call you? Something that we can spread amongst the universe, maybe?
Yeah, right now I'm just Dan. I'm Dan right now. But in high school, growing up, I was Deagle and Deegs. Like it just kind of stuck, just like taking the first letter of my first name and then kind of the first half of my last name. And uh, that was during when like Fortnite came out. And
Yeah.
so they had just added like the golden Deagle in the game. And so everyone was kind of just like, playing those two things off of each other and was like, oh, that's Deagle. That's Deagle. And so I've been Deagle and Deegs and Eags, for the good portion of my baseball career.
Nice. That's all the this or that I've got. I don't know if Reese has any this or that he may want to know.
No, I'll ask you one more question, basically non-baseball related. Okay, so let's say you just got done with a day game, right? You get a chance to unwind. What are you doing to unwind?
I love like chilling and playing video games, like just kicking it back and unwinding at the house. If I were to like go out and do something, I would probably find like a nice dinner spot, somewhere that I can like sit down and have a really good meal, because we get a bunch of stuff catered during the season, and so sometimes I can get boring. So it's nice to have like a really good like sit down dinner somewhere. And so I would try to find like a really nice restaurant later that evening and sit down and have a nice meal.
Okay, so I have two more questions then. We're gonna play off of that. What games are you playing right now? Like what's the first thing you're logging on? Are you an Xbox guy, a PlayStation guy? Are you gonna throw us all through a loop? Are you an emulator guy? Or are you a Switch guy?
I'm on the Xbox. I play a lot of Fortnite, obviously. I really like the show. I just downloaded the new 2K game, so I've been playing 2K, and I also really like Marvel Rivals too. Just kind
I
of
haven't gotten
like,
around to Rivals yet.
yeah, those like the Marvel games and Fortnite. It's really good to like turn my brain off and just kind of like feel the sticks, if that's how you want to put it. And
No,
so,
100%.
yeah.
100%. Okay, and then my next question I'm going to ask you. Okay, so you mentioned that you like to go out to eat, so I assume you're a food. Actually, there's two questions. Are you a
Yes.
Yelp guy? Are you a Belly guy? Do you review food? Like,
No.
is that okay?
No,
You just
maybe
go
I
there and-
should. Maybe that should be something I start, is like a little food review channel or something.
Yeah,
I'd
I know
love it.
Brent Rooker does that. Austin Wells does that as
The
well.
breakfast burritos. Yeah.
The breakfast burrito. And then, who was it? Mark Canna always releases at the end of the season, like his favorite places that he ate in the majors around the season. Okay, so I want you to give me, okay, so you've been in the Pacific Northwest. You're obviously now in Amarillo. And back at your time in college, give me a recommendation give me 3 recommendations, one for each of those places that you like. If you're just on an off day, you like, I want to go out and go get a bite to eat. What are you picking?
Okay, so if you are to go to Clinton, South Carolina, where Presbyterian College is, there's a really good burger place, and it's called, oh crap, it was just on the tip of my tongue. We'll come back to it. Hillsboro, I had a really good seafood restaurant somewhere down by the airport. I think it was called Salty's on the Water. That place was really good, and it was a great view of like it was right by the Portland airport, so it was a really good view on the water. I haven't really been anywhere super crazy in Amarillo, except I did go to the Big Texan, which is like famous for having that 72-ounce steak challenge. And so I didn't do the steak challenge, but I got a steak, and it was actually really good. like it blew my expectations away just because I figured it wouldn't live up to the hype, but it was actually really good. That burger place, gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking on it because I went there all the time.
Some of
But
it's just you don't even think about, it's just something that you just automatically go to. You don't even
yeah,
need to, like, think about it. I get that. If you were to ask me, like, some of the favorite restaurants that I went to in the town that I currently live in, I'd just be like, "I just go over here and I eat here." So I'm with you entirely. All right, one more pitching question. If you could give pitchers one bit of advice, what would it be? Let's say you're just talking at, like, a camp, or you're just talking to some young and up and coming guys, right? Like, what's some one bit of advice that you could give the next generation of pitchers?
yeah, I would say I've really learned that like listening to your body is very important, but also like not freaking out about like minor injury inconveniences, just like daily soreness. Like I used to freak out all the time in college if my like elbow was sore, if my shoulder was tight, this and that, and I would be like in the training room like trying to figure it out and get rid of it. But actually, like what's really beneficial is just like understanding what exercises or physical activity causes the soreness and then like being able to work through it. It's huge and it like really improves your ability to like endure multiple pitches, being able to throw more innings at a time and this and that. And so I think like just understanding that like there are going to be times where you don't feel your best and you're going to have to throw the baseball, and just like if you can put it behind you mentally that it's not going to feel good when you throw, but you like got to be okay with it, then you end up doing a lot better. So
That's awesome advice. I hate to go back to food, but you said something just a minute ago that I've got to touch on. So you said you went to the Big Texan, you didn't do the challenge, the 72-ounce steak. Let's say you had to pick one teammate and you and he had to do the challenge together. Who do you tap in at that point? Like, who do you look at and say, this is the guy that's going to help me eat a 72-ounce steak?
wow. Okay, so he's not on the Amarillo team, but
Okay.
one of my teammates in Hillsboro, John West,
Okay.
he's like 6'8", and I've seen him put down some food. And so at least like he's just such a tall guy that he's got to eat a lot of food to, just maintain. And so I think that would be like a little bit of a cheat code. Like I'd probably eat barely any of that steak, honestly, like compared to what he'd be able to put down. And so, yeah, I would choose him. He'd be great.
One last question for you, Dan. Let's say that you could speak directly to uh, Diamondbacks fans, pitching fans. If you could give them one sentence to remember you by, or to like keep in mind as you progress through your career, what would that sentence be?
Man, I mean, I would just say that like I really love playing baseball. Like I'm really passionate, and I'm gonna show that through my play. I'm a little emotional on the mound. I'm trying to work on it, but at the same time, I think it like helps, you know, create like my persona as a pitcher. And so I like really like getting after it, seeing the results happen in game, like getting fired up, having a moment where I can, come off the mound pumped up. And so I really want to be able to like bring that energy to, Chase Field, hopefully one day.
We'd love to see it. We can't wait. Don't lose who you are, Daniel Eagen, because it is amazing. And if this year has taught us anything, it's going to be a career well worth watching. And we're going to have a good time doing it. If you don't mind, Dan, if you want to tell the people at home, our listeners and viewers, where they can find you and follow you on social media, we'd love to ask you to do that.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's DJ Eagen _ and Twitter. It's I think it's Daniel _ Eagen, just my name. If you search me up on either of those, my account should come up. So, but also Wilson's is the name in Clinton, South Carolina. Wilson's Club Market or Curb Market. They have the best burger in town, and I would go there so many times on my off day for a cheap burger. It's amazing. So check it out.
We'll do it. We'll do it. And Dan, again, thank you so much for joining us, man. On behalf of Reese and myself, it's been a pleasure to have you on deck, and we can't wait to see where your career goes from here.
Thank you very much, guys.
Want to say thank you once again to Daniel Eagen for being with us. What a wonderful interview that was. I know, at least on my behalf, it's an incredible time speaking to him and getting to have that time with him to learn more about his life and his on mound mentality. I love the thought that he is such a bulldog, but at the same time has that kind of Greg Maddux mentality of knowing when and what, and the game within the game, sometimes within the game. Before we go, though, I wanted to let you know about what's going on at Prospects Live right now. Again, for as low as $5 a month, you can get access to some of the best articles, tips, tools, tricks, lists, rankings, podcasts, and more at prospectslive.com. What we've seen going on right now, though, lots of wonderful stuff, guys. The daily sheet continues to roll along, even into the doldrums of the season. At every level of the game that's still playing, at least you're going to get the best performers of the day from the Sheep Boys. Want to give a shout out to them for their commitment all year long. It's admirable. Max Arterburn recently released the 8th Hobby Plus update. If you're into baseball cards, you got to check it out. This is essentially like a stock market of sorts, as whose card values are going up, who may be going down, who could be on the rise with, who you need to invest in, and why. So look out for that from Max. Great work to him. The amateur team releasing its first top 50 players of NCAA for 2026. It's going to be an awesome list. I was really privileged to contribute to that, along with a ton of very, very smart people. We're looking forward to seeing that. It has probably either already dropped or will be dropping within the couple of days that you're seeing this episode of the podcast. The Dynasty Pickups boys, got to give an incredible shout out to Kyle and Taylor. They're releasing 2 articles plus a podcast every week. They are some of the most consistent, informative, and wonderful, and frankly, sweet guys in the space. Shout out to both of you for your amazing work. Tom Gates in that same boat, 3 Up, 3 Down, has been wonderful this year. Go check that out. Lucas's Diamond Diplomas, the old professor himself. Great work from him as well. Talking about Brandon Sproat. The Dynasty team, since we're mentioning all of them, we'll shout out Greg as well. The Dynasty team has its top 500 plus, which really is more like top 600 or so fantasy prospects for Dynasty leagues releasing. I believe it will be out by this point as well. So if you haven't, you got to go check it out at prospectslive.com. All kinds of wonderful content. And that will do it for this episode of On Deck. Wanted to let you all know how much I appreciate you and how much I appreciate the time we've gotten to spend together today and through On Deck's history. Want to tell you all how much you mean to me, and hope that you'll continue to enjoy On Deck as it continues to go forward. Hope you liked this episode. Be sure to drop us a comment. Share this with somebody who you think may want to know a little bit more about Daniel Eagen. Let us know what your favorite part of the interview is, what you see from Daniel Eagen in the future, because we see a lot of really good things for him. But until next time, this is Drew signing off. We'll see you down the road.
I can't let her go. I can't